All right, guys, a little bit different video today. We are going to be reacting to King of the Fourth Quarters. Dallas Mavericks have turned it around again video. I should probably move my face cam, so we can see his face cam in this video. So let me do that real quickly. But he's going to be breaking down the Mavs. I have not watched this video, but I think he made this video after we beat the Grizzlies in the NBA Cup a couple days ago. So since then, have beaten the Wizards, beaten the Raptors, two not incredibly impressive wins, but now 11 of their last 12 are wins for the Mavs, looking really, really good. And I'm excited to see what Kenny has to say about my favorite team. So if y'all like this reaction style of content, make sure y'all let me know in the comment section below. I'll be totally open to doing more of this stuff in the future. Just want to try it out. And before we hop into it, if y'all haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 1,000 subscriber mark on the channel. We're literally so close to 1,000 subscribers. I think by the time that y'all see this video, we'll probably have hit it. So we'd really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, enough yapping. Let's hop right into it and let's see what Kenny has to say. Make sure I turn on the volume.
So I know y'all remember this.
That should be about right. I'll turn it up a little bit more, I think.
And it led to a John Collins game-winning dunk. Even rewatching this, you can see there's one coach on the bench pointing at.
It was Sean Sweeney's fault. Right there. He miscommunicated Quentin Grimes and Luka. And people were giving Luka so much hell after that play, though, because of his defense, and I think a little unfairly so, to be totally honest.
This is a really, really bad loss. And there were some real conversations after this happened about the Dallas Mavericks, right? They had a aggressive offseason. Has this shifted the dynamic of the team? Because not only did they lose to the Utah Jazz, this dropped them to 1-6 in clutch games.
Yep.
1-6. Since then,
I think at the time we were like 4-7 as a team in general as well. Just not good.
A lot has changed. And that's why I said on the podcast that I'm not completely worried just yet. Because I don't know if you go from one of the 3 best clutch teams in basketball the previous season to being dead last with just one offseason. Like, I needed a bigger sample size before I start to get worried. And they are not.
Well, you know how people are these days. They love to not even just recency bias. They just like to react. It is recency bias, but people just like to overreact to things that happen in the very near future. And I mean, I can be guilty of it as well. I think we all are at times, but got to keep in mind, Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, they're going to figure it out. They were always going to figure it out.
9-10 and they're 9-1 in their last 10 games.
Now 11-1.
A few of those are those clutch games that they were struggling to win earlier into the season.
Yep.
Like, these wins are good wins, man. I'm gonna count them.
They are.
I'm gonna be very generous when I say good wins here. The Spurs, the bare minimum, is a solid NBA team. That's a win. They beat OKC, while they were known as the best team in the Western Conference.
That's a good win.
They beat the Pelicans by 40. I'm not counting the Pelicans. They beat the Denver Nuggets. They beat the Atlanta.
They beat the Nuggets in the NBA Cup without Luka.
Hawks. So I'm counting because they
Hawks have been good, man. Give the Hawks some credit. They've been playing good.
They beat the Knicks, and then last night they beat the Grizzlies. So out of their 9
Knicks and Grizzlies as well, right?
Wins, at least 6 of them are against solid to good to great teams. And
to be fair, the last 2 wins have been against the Raptors and the Wizards, but destroyed the Wizards. Were comfortably ahead pretty much the whole game against the Raptors. Still very good, gotta say.
Now, I want to talk about last night's game against the Grizzlies because that was my game of the night. Again, I'm watching games differently this season. We have a game slate. I'm really.
My dog is barking. I will be right back. Sorry, y'all. Dog has a lot of energy. Anyways, let's get into this video.
Focusing on 3 to 4, and the Grizzlies.
I think he's going to be a frequent appearance in this video.
A game of the night contender. Even though the fourth quarter, if you watch this game, you know that fourth quarter was so awful. I mean, we had a million free throws. We had them going.
Well, that game was a couple days ago at this point. Marcus Smart. I bet he'll talk about Marcus Smart in this video a little bit. Marcus Smart kind of threw for the Grizzlies, but the Mavs came back from down like 13-11 in the last few minutes of the game. Like, they were hoping.
To the monitor for 7 minutes. It was hard to really sit through as a neutral fan, but I still want to talk about it after we hear a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by DoorDash. It is rare to get a sponsor. You saw the Memphis Grizzlies come out.
Just gonna skip out of the sponsor, but go support Kenny if y'all want to. Shout out Kenny, man.
That's what I get for filming videos this time of the day. Maybe I just need to change my setup. The sun, shout out to the sun, bro. It's December. I'm happy that you're here. But
shout out to the sun.
I'm trying to work here, bro. All right, so there are a lot of cool things in this game from both sides. Honestly, you saw the Memphis Grizzlies come out with a lot of aggression. Like they talked about on the broadcast that it felt like a playoff game.
It did.
NBA Cup game.
It was a very physical game. Really physical game. One of the most physical games this season.
This was a ugly like 3 quarters for the Dallas Mavericks. Turnover after turnover. Open shot for
the most turnovers the Mavs have had in a game in 5 years against the Grizzlies in that game.
This guy, Desmond Bane, finally has a good moment. And one thing I was looking forward to coming into this game, because I think the major question for a lot of Dallas Mavericks critics was, how do you guard the explosive, aggressive guards across basketball?
P-Jail.
If there's a more explosive, aggressive guard than Ja Morant. And it started off real slow. Ja Morant didn't attempt his first shot to the second quarter, which was surprising to me.
He was struggling
but
a bit.
eventually we got to that third quarter. He completely ramped it up. Like, here's a possession here where it's Thompson as the primary defender. And listen, Klay don't really stand a chance. That's even good defense. Klay
That's not
really stand
bad
a
defense,
chance.
to be honest.
Then it became Kyrie Irving's responsibility, and they get the switch they want to Klay Thompson. And again, Ja Morant just takes him to school and gets a really easy.
That's just really good footwork, to be honest.
To know what the score is in this game. Like, at this point in time, the Grizzlies are,
like I said, big comeback.
Had a really successful third quarter, and a lot of that is, again, Ja Morant playmaking.
Ja did have a great third quarter in that game.
Scoring back. And with about 5 minutes left, this is where I like to call the PJ Washington takeover.
PJ, yes sir.
Luka Doncic getting.
PJ has literally been the Mavs' third best player this year for me. I mean, he has been incredible, so good. He is the biggest reason the Mavs are Luka and Kyrie are still the biggest reasons the Mavs are contenders, but like PJ Washington, guys like him, Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes, the center duo, like those are the guys. The depth of this team is what makes them so good. And PJ's the leader of the rest for sure. I mean, he's had an incredible year. First team all defense. I'm not kidding. PJ Washington should be making an all defensive team this year, and I think probably one of the first or second team. Like, he is playing incredible.
All of the intention in the world after I think at this point he has 30 points, 34 points or so. PJ
it's a great swing pass.
Draws him off the line, gets an.
How many wings in the NBA, like non-star wings, are attacking a closeout with that level of physicality, getting downhill and creating a shot for themselves at the rim, finishing an and one? Not that many third or fourth options are doing that for most of these teams, and that's the value of a PJ Washington, really.
And one layup. So you thought that takeover was going to be because PJ Washington decided to hit a bunch of three-pointers or scored 40 points.
He played D.
This is where the takeover really started. So he gets that and one on one end, and for the rest of this game, 5 minutes left, it is his assignment to guard Ja Morant. And boy, did he do an amazing job, better than anybody else on this roster really did when it came to PJ
is so good on defense,
bro. This is a scenario where he has to pick him up on the break, and he does a phenomenal job.
I mean, that's
of getting Ja Morant,
and he switches and creates a jump ball.
Superpower, but this time it didn't work out. Then he's down there, he gets the jump ball, and he wins the jump ball. Go screen from Santi Aldama. Here comes Marcus Smart. He wants to carry Irving assignment. No,
he gonna fight through. Don't switch. Yup.
Under, and we're gonna force you to take another.
Yup. And it's contested. That's a super hard shot. If he hits it, he hits it.
Review that I mentioned earlier. Oh my god. Oh my god. Stop it. It's still going. It's still going. It's still going. I've been fast forwarding forever, bro. This stinks.
It was a long review. He's right.
And for two of the most important possessions of the game, the ball is not in Ja Morant's hands.
But why is it not in Ja Morant's hands? Because PJ shutting him down.
And it's like Desmond Bane, take us home. And if you are the Dallas Mavericks,
and pretty good defense by Spencer Dinwiddie, forcing him to reject the screen.
But you would take
not a terrible shot though, and he missed it. And of course, PJ Washington, rebounder. He's had multiple doubles this game. He's been playing really well this year.
Sitting on the wing, waiting for an opportunity to touch the ball.
And there you go, D Live, good defense. Yep.
To wrap it all up.
What was Marcus Smart doing? Trying to sell a foul call, I think is what he was doing.
On that right wing.
But you know, PJ, 3J. Yep.
From Dinwiddie and the last one from PJ Washington. So again, his stat line is not going to showcase how much he meant to this game.
He's meant a lot to a lot of these games.
General, because since he's come back from, I think it was a knee injury, the team's been perfect.
Hey, sorry for interrupting.
1 second.
They have not lost since PJ Washington has been incorporated back into the lineup. And it's one of the things.
Was PJ playing the game we lost to the Heat? I don't remember actually.
One of the first times where they were almost completely healthy. Najee Marshall did not play.
He was the only major one in that Grizzlies game who didn't play.
But it's just cool to see, I don't know, one of these players that the on-court impact is not always box score related. And I talked about this a little while ago.
The thing that I'll say about PJ Washington, I don't know if he's about to bring this up, but the thing I'll say about PJ Washington is his reputation in Charlotte was that of a lazy, soft defender, kind of a lackadaisical player in general, not as locked in, intense, focused on the game and impacting winning basketball when he was in Charlotte. He's come to Dallas and he is so locked in, so intense, playing whatever role the Mavs needed to play on a night-to-night basis. A guy who's defending, again, opponents' best players, 1 through 4, 1 through 5 even. Incredible defensive versatility, plays super hard on both ends of the court, rebounding the heck out of the basketball, knocking down some shots. Now he started off the season rough from 3, but he does so many different things at a high level and plays such high-level connector, intense basketball. He's been amazing, legitimately amazing. And I mean, it's impressive to see a player whose narrative was so kind of negative shift over these last year, but he's done a great job of reinventing himself as a player and establishing himself as a really important role player on a very good team.
But sometimes, and we're seeing it on two different things. You see it with the Orlando Magic. I know they lost by 1 million yesterday, but sometimes having that star player out can empower other people to step up. Luka Doncic missed 5 games, and the team was perfect in that time. A lot of that is Kyrie Irving
4-1, but
taking the reins as the #1 scoring option, but a lot of that was other people kind of extracting and doing things they.
I'd say it was more
do.
that than
Najee
it was Kyrie.
Marshall is a perfect example of playing your role and playing it well.
Mm-hmm.
But when my number is called, I'm going to do some of the other stuff. Because we look at 3-and-D players as that's what they do. They sit in the corner, they shoot threes, they play great defense. Najee Marshall has not always been that. He's reverted to that because that's what gets him paid. He's reverted to that because that's what gets him on the floor. But Luka Doncic is out, and now Najee Marshall is posting people up, putting the ball on the floor. He's floating, he's this and that. Again, he's not.
It's what both Najee and PJ give you that most 3-and-D wings don't really have the ability to give you at a high level. Both those guys are physically capable, skilled players who can handle the ball a bit and do a lot of different things. They're not, because I mean, the Mavs had Derrick Jones Jr., who had a really good year last year and has been good in Los Angeles for the Clippers as well. He did not have that skill set the way that both those wings have to be able to create their own shot. Not really, I mean, they can initiate offense if need be, but are just really good off the ball threats because they're not just shooters. They can catch and attack off the dribble and create plays. And I mean, Najee, not just to create plays, he really is an initiator at times.
In this game specifically, but it is just a showcase of like these are real NBA players, not just what we put their time.
100%.
Also got to talk a lot about Luka Doncic because in this game he was incredible as well.
He's been so good since he came back from injury.
He's decided to start off as the guy, like it's Luka Doncic, right? He's always the guy, but like starting off first halves by putting up 20s, and he was doing this a lot last year as well.
He had a perfect
but I think
second quarter against the Grizzlies.
His teammates,
6 of 6, 3 of 3 from 3, something like that.
Explosive first halves, and then you have to adjust because early into this game they were guarding Luka with single coverage for the entirety of the first half. It was like the rookie Jalen
destroyed
Williams,
it in the second half.
My favorite rookie in his class, not named Modest Buzelis.
Jalen Wills has been awesome. He does deserve credit, but that's a tough one-on-one matchup against Luka, man.
He had to guard Luka Doncic. And I don't know a rookie in the league that can do that successfully, right?
Ryan Dunn's the best bet, but he can't do it either.
Very early on, and then they reverted to seeing two bodies or blitzing him a little bit more in that second half when it was more Marcus Smart.
The thing to remember about this Grizzlies game, I know it was a couple days ago, Kyrie did not have a good game. He was inefficient. He struggled. He missed some shots you would expect Kyrie to make. And they still found a way to get the job done against a physically intense, high-level defensive Grizzlies team that played really well. Like, that was a big win because they got such a questionable performance from their second star. Didn't have Najee Marshall and were able to still make the plays to win, get the contributions they needed from role players down the stretch. Guys like Grimes, Lively, and obviously PJ, who we've talked about.
/ other people. Also got to get a ton of love for Derek Lively because
he played
this
awesome.
Is a team
He's been really good.
That really pride themselves on getting to the basket, finishing around the rim. And I
not on D Live.
Let me see if I can find it. This stat is from Digging Basketball. Shout out to them. It's a Substack. Memphis shot 15 for 30, 50% in the paint when Lively was on the court, and they shot 64% in the 16 minutes that he wasn't on the court.
I mean, shout out Daniel Gafford. The thing about Gafford is he's 6'9", realistically, maybe 6'10". He's very athletic, plays very hard. He's not quite physically the rim protector that D Live at 7 foot, 7'1", super lanky, absolute freak athlete, jump out the gym type of guy is. And obviously the mobility of Lively is just incredible as well. Not that Gafford's not mobile, but I really think the Mavs, their center duo is just, they don't put up the eye-popping numbers the way that a lot of other bigs in this league do, but the things that they do as just connectors, rollmen, physical rebounders, physical rim protectors, it just, there are very few teams in basketball that have that type of center rotation. There's just really only a couple, in all honesty.
So again, just being one of the premier rim protectors in basketball.
D-Live's been awesome this year. He really has.
Where they turn the ball over 20 plus times and they shot.
When you find a way to win anyway, man.
60% from the line.
It was not good.
Bad like that. Like this is not a game.
That's the thing about this game, though. And that's the thing about this Mavs team is the ability to win ugly. They're good enough defensively. Like Luka is so underrated defensively, but as a whole, this is a legitimately good to arguably even great defensive team. They don't have to have beautiful offense every single night. Now they're certainly capable of it with guys like Luka, Kyrie, Clay when he's shooting the ball well, all that type of stuff. But the ability to win games in other ways when your second star isn't playing well, when guys are having off nights, when players are injured like they've been able to do several times over these past couple of weeks is the type of stuff that separates a good team from a great team. Winning on defense, winning when things aren't going well, winning when you turn the ball over too much and you're missing free throws and it's just an off night, finding a way to win anyway. When you can do that, that's the sign of a great team and a legitimate contender.
You normally would win. Of course, you got the whistle advantage, but if you're not hitting the free throw, it don't even matter.
I'm not even really sure they got that much of a whistle advantage. I know they had a lot more free throws, but
monitoring from them is their drastic difference in the shots that they're generating. Now, obviously these numbers are somewhat skewed, a 20-game sample size, and again, 5 of those are without their number one three-point creator.
We are shooting more mid-ranges this year.
They were one of the highest frequency three-point teams of basketball last year. Now they're in the second.
Shout out Cleaning the Glass, man. This is such a cool tool. Y'all should, it's $5 a month. Cleaning the Glass is such a great subscription tool. If you're like a basketball nerd, want to learn more about these teams, figure out what they're doing well, what they're not, where they're shooting, individual players and teams. There's so much information on this website that is such a cool asset, to be honest.
Second half, how do we say that? In the bottom third in basketball, and they're taking more mid-rangers than ever before.
We're taking the second most mid-rangers in the league, I guess.
We'll see how those numbers look in 10 more games, so we get a bigger sample size of Luka.
Well, with Luka back, especially.
Not having the greatest shooting year, or even Najee Marshall. Basically, their two biggest acquisitions are not shooting three-pointers well, and he's Klay Thompson. Like, I just don't expect him to be this bad.
He was good tonight against the Raptors. That was nice. He had 20 points.
He's on a minutes restriction, but I am curious to see how comfortable Jason Kidd will be when he's off his minutes restriction and not playing him down the stretch if he's not providing the three-point shooting that they need. Because
I'm pretty confident the kid will be comfortable not playing him down the stretch if need be. Like, here's the thing. I want Klay really badly to be a huge piece of this Mavs team. I think he is capable of it. But if he's not shooting the ball well, if he's having an off night, I don't think kid's going to have any problem subbing in Quentin Grimes or Najee Marshall or whoever it might be off that bench to come in and try to add an extra spark. Even Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, having guys who you can bring off the bench and fill that final closing spot next to Luka, Kyrie, PJ, and Lively is huge. And that's the value of Klay. Klay's a great player. I really think Klay's done a lot of things well for the Mavs. I know he hasn't shot the ball that well, but I mean, he's been a little better defensively than I would have expected. I think he's going to be an important piece, but I like that we have other options as well. And I don't think J. Kidd is hesitant at all to use those other options.
Again, you saw parts of this game where it was Ja Morant kind of taking advantage of Spencer Dinwiddie or Quentin Grimes, who's at least a plus defender.
Quentin Grimes,
you kind of need Najee Marshall to close out a game over Klay.
Yep.
We saw it in the clips that I
size and physicality
taken advantage of by those guards. Again, Jason Kidd this is like what the deepest team he's had as
ever,
a Dallas Mavericks
as
coach.
a head coach, period, in the league.
To balance things when they are completely healthy, and that's all I got. Shout out to the Mavericks.
All right. There we go. Well, that was cool. Kind of a cool video, to be honest. I appreciate hearing Kitty's take on the Mavs. I think he said a lot of good stuff. And I know this video was a couple days old, but I hope y'all enjoyed me reacting to it as well. If you did enjoy the video, make sure y'all hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I will be back with more NBA content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.